The year is 2000, a new millennium. 8 years of Clinton Gore prosperity are coming to a close. The country is divided, not violently, but politically and culturally. The next president, that choice comes down to two men. I'm Al Gore, and I served 8 years of vice president. I'm ready to lead. The economy is strong, and we must keep moving forward. I'm George W. Bush. I'm the governor of Texas, and I'll restore honor and dignity to the White House and bring conservative values back to Washington. We have Al Gore versus George W. Bush, a presidential election that would test the Constitution, the courts, and the faith of a nation. On November the 7th, 2000, and for 36 days after, the entire U.S. votes, but the chaos all comes down to Florida. Because the margin is razor thin, a few hundred votes will decide the world's most powerful office. Miscounts, confusions, lawsuits, and one final Supreme Court ruling. Reporting live from Florida, we're calling the presidency to Al Gore. Wait, hold on. No, it swings to George W. Bush, and that gives him the White House. Wait, I just got a call and said that Florida is too close to call. Less than 0.5% differences triggers an automatic recount under Florida law. I thought I punched Gore, but my hole is next to Bunchman's name. I'm not sure who I voted for. As you can see, these ballots called butterfly ballots confuse thousands of voters, especially in Palm Beach County. Even worse, hanging Chaz punch cards that weren't punched all the way through. Votes the machines couldn't even read. The election came down to Florida, and it just so happened that the governor of Florida was Jeb Bush, yes, George W. Bush's own brother. But people had doubts. Was the process truly neutral when the governor's brother was on the ballot? Meanwhile, the margin in Florida was so close, just a few hundred votes, that it triggered an automatic recount. But the machines didn't catch everything. Thousands of punch card ballots were incomplete. Some had tiny imperfections. Others had bits of paper still hanging. Look at the ballots. Some votes weren't counted. Let's hand count them, especially in countries where confusion was highest. This is about will of the people. Gore's team requested manual recounts in 4 counties, but Bush's lawyers fought back. You can't change the rules after the election. Deadlines exist for a reason. The votes have been counted, and it's time to move on. Tensions escalated. Protesters gathered outside counting rooms. Cable news ran 24/7 coverage. America didn't know who their next president would be for weeks. And with the clock ticking, the battle moved from ballots to courtrooms. In Bush versus Gore, we find that the lack of uniform standards in the Florida recount violates the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution. The court's action stops a state from counting legal votes. That is not justice, and I dissent. While I strongly disagree with the court's decision, I accept it. For the good of the country, I concede. I thank Vice President Gore for a gracious cause. I will serve as president for all Americans. Democracy is fragile. In 2000, it was tested not by war, but by paper ballots, partisan judges, and citizens who didn't know if their vote had counted. The election came down to a single question: who decides who we are? Sometimes it's not the people, it's the process.